luxurious. You just need to be able to have a roof over your head and play. You will not get married to a woman and take her to your father's house, ideally. Unless circumstantially you're compelled to do so, but that's not the best thing. Maturity says that you've come to a stage in your life where you get your 105 or 1.5 from NSFAS and you can take care of yourself. A roof over your head, you're able to provide food on the table, keep the lights on, keep her in a secure house. Social responsibility. Social maturity is responsibility. Spiritual maturity, vision. There are a lot of people who are spiritual babies. They are not ready for relationships. They need to invest in themselves first before they can take care of someone else. And it goes both ways. As a woman, you will need to build yourself up in the faith before you are relating to a second person, because life will throw things at you that you need to know how to pray for yourself. You need to have a relationship with God. That's what says you're mature. So that when you face circumstances, and sometimes you do not know the kind of circumstances that will come your way, that will have to get you to go on your knees and pray. Find God for yourself and find answers for yourself, because no one will be able to bring those answers for you. So before relationship, seek maturity. Seek all of these 5 maturities. Spiritual maturity, social maturity, be responsible, emotional maturity, have the character and the temerity that it takes to be an adult. Adults bear responsibility. Carry responsibility. You need to be mature. Psychological maturity, ability to make decisions, judged by the wisdom of the choice and decisions you have made over time. And of course, physical maturity. As far as physical maturity is concerned, it's a question of timing. And timing is not a question of age, it's a question of readiness. There are seasons in your life where the most important thing that you need to do for yourself is build your capacity. People who date when they're supposed to be studying compromise on both. They do not succeed in getting effectively successful at dating, and the dating takes time away from them, and so they do not succeed at their studies. And when you fail to succeed at your studies, it prevents you from attaining the place where you can actually effectively to find the right person. Our pastors told us when we were growing up that the most significant thing about being a man is the ability to pay bills. There's a time in the life of a man where building your capacity is your most important investment in your relationship. Because when you build your capacity, you upgrade yourself and you change clubs, you change levels, you change abilities. You increase your ability to be able to find and meet the right person. Do not give yourself into trying to entertain a relationship at the time when you're supposed to be building your capacity. Do not give your emotions and your media resources to try and sustain and play a man in the life of a person when you're supposed to be giving that time to be solving maths. That will give you the grades, that will give you the kind of job, that will give you the ability to be able to actually create an actual relationship. You have your priorities swapped. And you will miss out on both. Because when you pursue this lady at a time when you don't have capacity to pursue that person will keep you busy, take you away from your objectives, and when it is time to make the actual decision, she will go for the people who are ready. She will dump your broke self and go for the guy who can take care of them, because women are not cut out to do broke. They don't do broke. This whole thing of we do it for love, it's only in the movies. In real life, it doesn't work like that. They can accompany you for a season if you temporarily lost your job, or they can accompany you for a season if you're in transition. They don't want that to be a permanent place in their life. Then they'll start feeling resentment towards you. And by the way, in our generation, an increasing percentage of women are people who are born into situations where they see themselves entitled to get married to a rich guy. Why should I be the one that gets married to a guy who's not rich? Like, explain to me. Why must I not be the one that is sitting in that Range Rover and being driven around executively? You say it's just for love. Okay, why should love not exist with a rich guy? Why is it because of love calling for you when you are broke? I also want because of love with a rich guy. Like, I want to be in whatever that is driving services and so on and so forth. But of course, as children of God, we have better value system. The point I'm making, especially to the guys and somewhat to the ladies, and it applies to both of us, invest in yourself. Your best preparation for a great relationship is investing in yourself, spiritually, socially, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. That's point number 2. Point number 3, in relationships, you need to be careful to ensure that there are compatibilities. Compatibility does not guarantee you a stress-free relationship. It just reduces the amount of wahala that you have to deal with. There has to be intellectual compatibility. Intellectual compatibility says cut your coat according to your size. Compatibility according to levels of education. Compatibility according to level of according to IQ. Compatibility according to communication. Compatibility according to understanding. Because this intellectual compatibility can become a significant source of misunderstanding. You can just speak to your spouse in simple, pure English grammar, and she feels insulted. So you are trying to call me this or that. In the body of Christ, a lot of people struggle with this question of intellectual compatibility. The idea here is marry someone that is in your social class. Funny as it sounds, but it will reduce your stresses. Because you being a social class is not a status. It just says that your mindsets are operating within the same wavelength. So communication is going to be easy. When you speak, the person will understand what you are saying. When you marry in social classes apart, it catches up with you with time. As a couple in Cape Town, my friend's brother, the wife is doing a PhD, the guy was doing his master's, and at some point, I think he did an honors and then started a master's and dropped before they were getting married. I sat him down, both of them, after they had gotten him. I told him that, listen, do not let the gap between you and your wife be so big. Because with time, it will catch up with you. You will not have conversations. She's a black South African science student. Her career path is like this. She would grow very fast. You just want to do a business. A time is going to come when she will be going for business meetings, flying overseas, interacting with people that you would feel uncomfortable hanging around. When you guys are young, it doesn't matter. When you start growing old into your 40s and 50s, it will be so stark, clear. Now, I'm not saying that you must be PhD that get married with PhD. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying find educational compatibility. And this becomes very extremely difficult, especially when the compatibility is different between the man and the woman. When your wife is more educated than you, it's a challenge. It's a challenge because you need to be super secure not to feel disrespected. Now, anytime she asserts herself out of her personal frustrations just by her personal character, you will interpret as, you are treating me like this because you're more educated than me. There was a couple I knew in Cameroon, the wife had a master's degree, the husband I don't think even had a matric. In addition to her master's degree, she had a strong character. So she would challenge the man in good fine English. But the challenge was not coming from her education, it was coming from her personality. But obviously the man was receiving it as the only reason you're disrespecting me is because you're educated and I'm not. So something that she will normally say no because she doesn't like it as a human being, the man will feel like you are saying this only because you have a master's degree and I have a matric. So when you're looking for compatibilities, don't love up.
I don't think that's
Please don't be ambitious. No, don't love up. Especially if you are the guy. If you are the lady, okay, cool. If you are the lady, okay, cool. I need to put that in parentheses. Men have different trajectories. You know, people are into IT and men have different, it's not every person that goes through education to become a professor. You know, some people start business, they do business. The key thing is cultivate yourself. We're talking about emotional intelligence, your IQ. If the degree does not say PhD behind your name, build yourself to be cultivated. There are some people who have not completed a university degree, but they are very intellectual because they read So even if the degree is not next to your name, read. Read so that when the lady is talking, when they're analyzing the stock market and they're talking about trades, you're not talking about the shebeen and the tavern kind of conversation, you know? They're talking about those movies. When she's discussing the budget speech, you're discussing Muvango. Or generations. You know, you have this very serious conversation about this guy who did this thing in generations and this guy is like that. Gossip! When that happens, before long you guys grow apart. And then resentment starts building inside of you. So, the easier thing is compatibilities, let it be intellectual. Compatibility, be able to sustain a conversation. Have similar interests. Be able to talk and understand each other. Don't be ambitious. You know, there was a brother that was a business person. He was pushing, you don't know what a truck is, and selling beignet. Magunian. And he came and said that God has told him that the pastor's daughter is his wife. Now, and the person feels we are all children of God, and so why should I not be able to marry the pastor's wife, pastor's daughter? What are you talking about? And this pastor is a retired engineer who has worked his whole life, and his children are high maintenance, high class. And this brother doesn't understand that we are brethren. This is the body of Christ. Why cannot I marry this person? So, intellectually, don't be ambitious. Yes. You will not be able to cope. Because when a father has raised a daughter and made her used to going into cliques with 10K to buy her cosmetics, she doesn't see anything wrong with that. Her body lotion is 5,000 rands.
They're washing the dishes.
Her body lotion is 5K.
When they're done.
Her father has given her that 5K from when she was in university till she graduated. And she finished and got a job, and she could afford a body lotion of 5K because she was about 50K. So on her cosmetics a month, to maintain herself and to her to shine, that shininess that attracted you cost money. And she's shining because she spent like between 20K on herself because she can afford. Now you come and your whole salary is 15K. And you are attracted to her. The first time she goes to clicks and comes on and you see the slips, you will drop. Because you're like, this woman has taken my whole salary and just swiped it. Problems in the house.
Yay!
How can you spend so much on body lotion? 5K, what are you robbing? What is there on you? Like, are you embalming yourself? What is happening? 5K. What happened to the lotions that are 100 rands?
Yay!
And she will feel they're 100 rands. She has never used a 100 rands lotion her whole life. Because her father used to take care of her. How did you end up there? You loved up.
You loved up.
It's funny. Don't love up. Okay? Compatibilities that are cultural, habits, sensitivity, and unwritten codes of ethics. As black people, this is so crucial. Even as black believers, you'll be shocked the kind of expectations that cultures and traditions have on people. Even when they are born again. In Southern Africa, Zulus, Xhosas, and Vendas, very traditional people. Even when they are born again, they don't leave their traditions outside the body of Christ. They bring it with them. So don't go. So the first thing is, in relationship, be conscious of that. Cross-cultural marriages are extremely challenging. Cross-country marriages are even more challenging. You know, I'm going to teach you this. South Africa and West Africa. Hey! Small things. You know, I'll use one or two two examples, don't take offense. Small things, or little things. Little things. A clash. A clash. For example, Sweetness gives birth. Her mom feels that this is a personal moment for her daughter and her family, and that her presence is going to be interference. So she doesn't want to be available and present all the time. If Sweetness says, Mama, I need help, she will come and assist for that period. But after that, she wants to go home. Her mom also understands that if Sweetness needs me and needs to drop off the kids, she can come and drop off the kids anytime. And for her, that is her prism of normality. The husband's family, when the daughter gives birth, the mother moves in and stays with them.
For at least 9 months. The mother takes care of the child.
Naturally, for her, it is second nature.
Like I cannot have a grandchild and then I can't.
Moves in and stays. So that she can teach the daughter-in-law how to wash the baby, take care of the baby, you know. It's like second nature. It's like, if you have observed, if you have any West African friends, every time the woman is pregnant or gives birth, the mother comes.
Even if you watch this Nigerian, you see the car.
You see it? It is second nature. Now, they would have issues because the whole family in Ghana is judging her mother. What kind of woman is that? How can you be in the same environment with your daughter and your daughter gives birth and you don't go and move in? And so the husband's father will be like, okay, I will not come because, you know, Mama is dead. In her mind, Sweetness' mom is about to move in to their house and stay with them for like 3 months. So she doesn't need to come. She waits 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and she's getting phone calls and like, she's not hearing any sign the mother is in the house. I was like, but how can your mother abandon you to that? Now, it puts pressure on the husband. Because the mother is like, your mother-in-law is not doing what she's supposed to be doing. And the mother is thinking like, this is what? And she is thinking like, my mother is not doing what she's supposed to do. My mother is already doing a lot. My mother is taking care of children. Oh, sure. Why? Cultures create expectations. They are unwritten codes. And they are so strong. They are so strong. You see, Starbucks and I, because we come from the same cultural disposition, there are unwritten codes that make our marriage very solid. My blessing is that our cultures are predisposed so that she is the one that is responsible for my food. You see, all these people that come and go into the house, I don't eat their food. Besides a cultural expectation, it's also a personal choice. For as long as we've been married together, nannies don't cook for me. Because when you start getting someone, this is now for me, from a married man's perspective, when you start getting a lady, a female in your house, comfortable with the idea that you like her food, it can go beyond liking her food. So for my personal integrity and for my own personal upkeep and sake, there is no person that has stayed with us that goes away with the impression that I like her food, because 9 out of 10 times I don't eat what they cook. And I've been doing that with my for almost 15, 16 years. That's just me. It therefore means that my wife, with her busy schedule, still has to make sure that I have food. It's not a logistical thing. It's a ministry. And we did not sit down and have the conversation. It's because we come from the same cultural background. That is not the conversation to have. So she just takes care of my food. And we flow. And I can give you more details of how complicated I don't like eating food 2 times. Cultural expectations. No, I don't. I feel very. So you make Brian pap for me on Monday. And then on Tuesday I want to come and you are reheating the Brian pap on Monday to serve to me. I don't like it. I take offense. Or I want to come on Wednesday, you have gone and bought KFC and covered it in a dish and set it on the table. Cultural expectations. They can break. So habits, sensitivity, and unwritten codes of ethics. Zulu men are very traditional. They want their respect. They don't play with their respect. And their families are also that, and all of that. Physical compatibility has to do with your preferences of physiognomy. And the rule of thumb there is that like what you see. Don't get married to someone with the hope that they will change. Yes. If you like chubby people, make sure that the person that you're interacting with is chubby. If you like skinny people, make sure that you're interacting with skinny. Of course, that is ephemeral. It's not substantial because we all change. I was not like this when we got married. I was very cute. And all the guys, you're not going to remain the same. You become low and below. Yeah. Point number 4 for me in our generation was the most important ingredient that made us to be successful in our relationships. Personality type and temperament. For all those of you who want to be successful in relationships, read books on personalities, personality type. It's going to help you in just much more than your relationships with the other person. Read book on personality types. Because it's going to give you an understanding of personality types with their strengths and their weaknesses. There are 4 principal personality types. Sanguines, melancholics, phlegmatics, and cholerics. Right?
Hey, you just spoke Japanese.
I spoke Japanese. I'll try. But please, I'll look for the books and make them available to you guys. That, I don't know how to put it. It's not spiritual jargon. It is the most significant thing that you can do to enhance the quality of your relationships. Because it helps you to dwell with your partner with understanding when you understand their personality type. In fact, in my pastoral responsibilities, my study of personality types has helped me tremendously. You see, when Uncle Banda was speaking earlier on and saying that my kind of stubbornness is a quiet kind of stubbornness, it is associated with his personality type because he's a phlegmatic. Phlegmatics are easygoing people, soft-spoken. They are not very vocal. They are not very aggressive, but they are very malleable. They would accompany you through decisions, but they have the strongest of wills, expressed very quietly. In fact, sometimes not even expressed. They don't talk a lot, or they don't express themselves a lot. They are very reflective. They take time to come to a decision, and once they have made that decision, it takes a world war to move them from that decision. But you will not know because they're not expressing. So Pastor Banda can quietly decide that I'm not going to do something. You will not see it on his facial expression, he will not express it, but he has made a decision. You will just see his action. That he has said that this is what's going to be. But they are the most pleasant people to be around. They also have their weaknesses. They also have their strengths. Melancholics are people who are excellent. I want to say this correctly. No, man. We have internet, right? They're perfectionists. Actually, let me try to stop that. Okay, check it out. Let's just see what it quickly says. says that. So there are four main personalities often referred to as the four temperaments: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. These types are based on ancient Greek theories, describe different patterns of behavior, thinking, and emotional responses. Here's a breakdown of each type. Sanguines are characterized by being outgoing, enthusiastic, and very sociable. Life of the party, often described as optimistic, cheerful, and very excitable. Sweetness has a bit of sanguine. That's why she can talk from Pretoria to Durban. Cheerful. Life of the party. You know. They are also they have emotional highs. My daughter Carla is a sanguine.
Carla, you're sanguine.
They are very enthusiastic, sociable. So you see that person that is always cracking jokes for everybody to laugh in the party, and who always has a lot to say. You know, it's like the life of the party. When they come into your room, the room lights up. That's a sanguine. They have emotional highs. They get angry. They express themselves. They turn you off. They also have emotional. They cry easily. They break them into tears and they break them into big laughter. Emotional highs. You know. But they also have weaknesses. That as they're emotionally volatile like that, they get angry easily, but they don't keep grudges. They will tell you off today and forget you, and meet you tomorrow and greet you and say they did not tell you off. They don't hold things personally. They are very emotional, but there are also people who are also very scattered. What if you get into a sanguine's room, you will tell from the way they keep things that this person is sanguine. You know, their socks is there, their shoe is there, their jersey is there, their clothes is there. They are also, that's part of the weakness, emotionally. Choleric are individuals that are typically ambitious, assertive, goal-oriented. They are natural leaders, they are decisive, and sometimes seen as bossy. Pastor G. Choleric is one of my character traits. And choleric is often associated with that. When I was growing up, I used to know, so I think my two principles, so most people tend to have a combination of the two. Or most people tend to have a combination of a primary and a secondary. Sweetness has a sanguine, she's sanguine melancholy, which is a very powerful combination. She's sanguine melancholy. She's a perfectionist. She's a deep thinker. She internalizes stuff. She also has a bit of choleric, which means that she combines the two emotional highs, because the choleric and the sanguine are the two emotionally high people. Melancholics are associated with people who are analytical, thoughtful, detail-oriented. They're often known to be introverted, sensitive, and perfectionist. Mr. Babs. She is analytical, thoughtful, detail-oriented, which helps her in her accounting, introverted, sensitive, and perfectionist. She sets high objectives for herself. She holds herself to a very high standard. Perfectionist. Sanguines are not perfectionists. A sanguine can have a 50 in a test and goes and throws a party. They are fast.
Killed it.
A melancholy can have an 80 or a 90 in a test and go and commit suicide.
Jesus.
Because in her mind, she wanted to have a 100%. They are perfectionists. A phlegmatic, 50, 60, 40, life goes on. Look at them, what is smiling here? 50, 60, 40, 100, sure. The sun is going to rise and fall, the next day we move. Chill. No problem. So phlegmatics are in temperaments, generally calm, peaceful, easygoing. They're known to be reliable, patient, they avoid conflict. You know. So these are general personality traits. Why is it important for relationships? you then deal with the person you're dealing with understanding. For example, I know my wife is a melancholic. I know that she's a perfectionist. So I know that she will have an increasing tendency to beat herself down, hold herself to high standards, feel bad that she's not accomplishing her objectives, and so on and so forth. So I don't then get frustrated because I know that this is a personality weakness. I dwell with her with understanding. And my responsibility therefore in our relationship is then to encourage. Yes, Sharis?
Which one am I?
I think that you are more between melancholic and phlegmatic.
She's not phlegmatic.
Yeah.
She's not phlegmatic.
I think you're more. I think you're between melancholic and phlegmatic. I don't see you demonstrating choleric tendencies. The person that demonstrates choleric tendencies is Carla.
No.
Interestingly,
Choleric is its own street.
Carla is a sanguine choleric.
That's weird. Choleric. Color is always like laughing.
Her primary temperament is sanguine.
Yeah, she's not straight.
Her primary character is sanguine. But Sharon is a perfectionist.
That's phlegmatic.
I think she's a perfectionist, phlegmatic. So if you look at this graph, you'll see that most people have a combination. So choleric, so people are choleric, sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, choleric, melancholic. Some people are sanguine, choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, sanguine, melancholic. Some people are melancholic, choleric, melancholic, sanguine, melancholic. So each person has a combination. Most people have a primary and a secondary. Why is this important for relationship? It helps you to understand the person that you're dwelling with their strengths and their weaknesses. When you know them. Now, for someone like Tabo and Keleso, you need to go and study this temperament stuff so that you would dwell with each other with understanding. Understand that my wife is primarily a timid person. She's an introvert. And she is like this, and like this, and like this. So she has these tendencies. Then you can dwell with her with understanding to know that I know this is where it's coming from. Understand my husband is an outgoing person, he's a sanguine person, he's a people's person, he's a friendly person, and he's like this, he's like this. It's not out of malice that he does things. This is who he is primarily. Then you know how to support and provide them. So in relationship, it's very important that you understand the temperament of the other. And you understand your own temperament, primarily. So you can do it with understanding. It's going to help you beyond your relationship, even in life. In my dealing with each and every one of you, the one thing that stands out very clearly for me as I deal with each person is your personality types. I know who I'm dealing with. I know what their tendencies are. I know what their weaknesses are. I know what their strengths are. You see the strength of, I'll give you an example here. You see the strength of a phlegmatic. Reliable. That's Uncle Banda.
Exactly.
Pretoria would not have been Pretoria without his consistency.
That deserves a clap.
Yes, it deserves a clap. Extremely reliable. Extremely. So it just flows. He doesn't struggle. There are some people who struggle to be reliable. Because it's not in their personality type. They like to move, they are movers and shakers. There's some other people who are constant. You just need to put him in a circuit. Say, we need to do this. He remembers all of them and he executes them one after the other. Effortlessly, without any stress, Patient, avoiding conflict. Melancholics, introverted, sensitive, perfectionists. They're some of the sweetest people to have around you. They're some of the most difficult people to deal with. When you say somebody is introverted, they don't talk much, but they have a a parliament inside of their head. Having conversation. You know, Kelechi is smiling. Yeah. Having conversation. Analyzing, you know. And this is the challenge of living with melancholics. Their actions is the conclusion of their analysis. And then they shock the people that they live with, because when they are acting based on the conclusion, based on a 6-hour conference they have with themselves, exploring all the options, dealing with all the conversations and making all the suppositions, and then they draw conclusions, and then when you meet them, you are meeting the conclusions based on analysis. Introverted. In that kind of a relationship, you must be very patient to understand their inner thoughts. Because before they talk, they have thought for a very long time. Sanguines talk before they think. Melancholics think before they talk. Sanguines are people who are emotionally expressive, but they do not keep grudges.
I talk before I think.
Sanguine. Melancholics are people who are not emotionally expressive, so they keep grudges. Melancholics are people that are prone to have gastric, because they ruminate on stuff. They are like camels. They go through events, regurgitate, and chew over it again. They are ruminants. They chew over it again and analyze. And then they tend to then build that. So when you heard the melancholy, there are people who are given to, they have a tendency of bearing and keeping grudges. Because they don't talk a lot. And? What is it? What's that?
Always pushing him.
It's not fine again. So melancholics and phlegmatics tend actually to be introverts. The only difference is that the quietness of the phlegmatic is not very internalized. They're just chill people. The quietness of the melancholy is because she is shutting out external noise to take care of the internal conversation. Very introverted. So if you're in a relationship with an introvert, you need to then go the extra mile to bring her out of her thought life into the real world. And you need to also go the extra mile to realize that this person thinks much more than she talks. Dealing with her with understanding. We got to this place because we're talking about where's the slide now? Voila. Personality and character types, right? So I would encourage each and every one of you to, in this day and age of the internet, go and read. Primarily read up on your personality type. What I've done here is very basic. Read up on your personality type so you can know your strengths and your weaknesses. So you understand yourself. You know what are your predispositions. So that every person that you interact with, you know where they are coming from. And so you can deal with people with understanding. And not get frustrated over things that they cannot change. Temperaments are like second nature. There's no point getting angry with someone who is quiet because they are quiet. Quiet is who they are. If you get frustrated with the fact that they are quiet, there's not much they can do about that. Because it is their second nature. The only way you can live with such a person is with understanding that this person is quiet. I know that it's going to take me a long time to get them to come out of themselves and be comfortable. And when they're comfortable with you, you see that they're not really quiet. They talk. When they become comfortable. But before they become comfortable, they're in their shell. So you must dwell with them with understanding. On the other hand, if you're going to be in a relationship with a sanguine, you need to provide an audience. Because they have more than their fair share of things to say. So one of your primary strengths of your relationship is you have to be a very good listener. Provide an audience and interactive audience. Okay. Is that it? Oh wow. Awesome. And then what happened? Let them talk. Because when they talk, they feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
If you are in a relationship with a sanguine and then you constantly are dismissing and brushing her, she will feel extremely frustrated because her interpretation of you loving her is listening to her. Which is often a challenge with men because when men start listening to a conversation, they want you to go to the point. Women are not like that. Women want to tell the full story. The average woman wants to tell the full story, and then the sanguine woman has an additional story to tell you. Because she must act out the story. You must live and feel the emotions of the moment, I went to the market and, and as I was passing through the shop, I saw this special. I went and I checked, I took the product, and you can imagine I was selling it for $9.95 instead of 12 rand. It was a balance. So I looked at it and I thought to myself, but I did not plan to buy this, so I put it back and I went to actually buy it. And I got it, there was another special, so I just spent. And the guy is like, oh, so you went to the shop and you bought soap.
That's the final conclusion.
She is engaging. You're looking for fact, she's looking for conversation. Because she wants to take the fact and act on the fact. She wants to relate. Now, if you don't know her personality, you think that, hey, my wife is so so much to say. And if you ever say that and she hears, you're frustrated her. Because she will feel like you don't love her. Because the way you demonstrate you love her is just to create a platform for her. So, sanguines need platforms. You must create the stage. Take your popcorn and sit down and let her act out the day. When she expresses herself, she feels fulfilled, she feels valued, she feels appreciated. In questions of temperament, opposites attract. So sanguines will tend to be attracted to melancholics. Cholerics will tend to be attracted to phlegmatics because they complement each other. A choleric is decisive, a phlegmatic is indecisive. So when they are both in a relationship, it would flow because the one person would naturally say, let's do so, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. The other person will be like, I don't get to make the decision. It's easy for me to go. So it sort of really works for me and just goes along with the flow. Melancholics tend to be attracted to sanguines because they are opposites. The one talks a lot, the other one doesn't talk at all. So they attract each other because the talkative is like, oh, this one is so composed and so calm and so collected. I wish I could be like her. I talk all the time. She never talks. I admire her silence. The melancholic on the other hand will be like, I wish I could talk like this person. She's so confident. She has a lot to say. I admire her boldness. They're attracted to each other.
Thank you.
So, compatibilities in terms of personalities becomes important in relationships because two sanguines should not get married. They'll burn the house.
My God.
Because they need, the one person, they both need audiences. They'll be talking over each other.
You talk, I talk.
You talk. So at the end of the day, the house is just going to go up in flames. Two cholerics should not get married because they will not be able to make any decisions. Actually, two phlegmatics should not get married because they don't be able to make any decisions. Two cholerics should not get married because they will fight over everything.
Who's going to make the final decision because they must make both of them together?
They will fight over everything because they are both strategic thinkers. The man will say, let's go left, the woman will say, let's go right because I think right is like right.
Mine is also correct.
Mine is also correct. So opposite attachment when it comes to personality. Final thing about maturity and compatibilities is spiritual maturity. Maturity in the things of God, doctrinal alignment, maturity in aspirations. There are some people who just want to grow up, get a nice job, drive a nice fancy car, be a member of a church, pay their tithes. That's it. That's as far as their ambition. There's some other people who want to go out as missionaries to go and win souls.
Open orphanage and so on.
Open orphanage and all of that. Those two people's spiritual ambitions are not compatible. They will run into a problem. I had a friend, you remember, I had one of my big brothers and mentors in the ministry. Yes. when he was growing up, he wanted to become a missionary. He was going to go as a missionary in South America. And then he got married to one nice, well brought up sister in the church who had no such ambitions. You know. And when the thing came up, she was like, no, I'm sorry. I had no plan to go as a missionary anyway. It's not part of the thing. And his missionary ambition died there. Because the pastors could not send, they cannot send you off onto a mission field where your wife is saying, I have no intention of being a missionary, or like, I want to be a missionary. And God respects and honors marriage institutions. So you must get married to someone that has similar levels of spiritual maturity. You must not necessarily be the same, but let the person have a basic fear of the Lord. Let the person have a profound understanding of basic biblical doctrines. And let the person have ambition, similar ambition as far as service to the Lord is concerned. In this day and age, doctrinal alignment is also very important. Because I've seen two extremely spiritually mature people break up because their doctrines were different. And you'll be shocked. The doctrines were so different. But I'm not talking about a believer and an unbeliever. I'm not talking about someone that... These are people who actually break up because they were serious about serving the Lord. That's it. Yes. They were serious about serving the Lord.
I don't know how else to explain it.
So I give you two examples. Example number one. The wife wakes up and says, I have a group of people that I'm mentoring and we need to pray every morning. I want you as my husband to come and oversee these prayers and pray with us. She discusses with her mentees and they are going to be praying, I think from 6 to 7, from 7 to, I can't remember, one of the morning periods. The husband comes and attends the prayer meetings once or twice and then stops. And then she continues. But it so happens that 6 to 7 is a time when kids need to be prepared for school, for the school bus to take his kids to school. So after the prayer meeting has run for a bit, the husband comes and tells the wife that, you know what? Prayer is something that you can do at another time. Please move that prayer time to another time so that I want you to be the one responsible for preparing the kids for school. And the wife says no. I will not move my prayer time. You know, and then it then becomes questions of I would rather obey God than obey man. If you are backsliding in your walk with God, I don't have to follow in your backsliding. I asked you before I started this prayer hour, and you said yes, and you attended the prayer hour for a few weeks, and then you stopped. So the fact that you stopped praying doesn't mean that I need to also stop praying. So I have a covenant with God to pray at this hour, and I'm going to pray at that hour. The husband feels disrespected. And then that becomes one disrespect after it just builds up to a point where he says he's had it. This is somebody that is breaking a relationship on spiritual issues. On prayers. Because of prayers. They start getting into challenges in their marriage and they say they plan to go and have counseling in a particular country. The husband agrees and at some point realizes that, I don't really want to travel. The woman is like, whatever, buys her flight and goes. Because she's going to see a spiritual father, daddy.
Or daddy the Lord. A papa.
Because my husband is not as spiritual as my spiritual father. You are not always married to Dr. Gio. Just put that in the back of your mind. Your husband is the priest of your household. It's not your pastor. So those are the little things that, fragilize the relationship. Other things got involved along the line. Today they are divorced. Two properly very spiritual people. If you hear them praying in tongues, you think that just spiritual incompatibility. One of them grew up in CMFI. The other one did not grow up in CMFI. If they were both in CMFI,
it'd be easier too.
It'll be easier because then we're operating the same ecosystem. Our belief system and sort of, I won't even give you details of the other things that happen to them, but spiritual compatibility is extremely very important. That's why I got to a point in my life where and I have not had sanction from God from this. But I want CYSM people to get married to CYSM people. It will make my life easy. In the beginning, it did not matter much to me. In the beginning, I told myself, sure, the Lord will lead you people to marry as you please. But in the most recent couple of years, I started asking myself the question, why not? Like all these guys that are here, you're going to go and get married to other people's daughters. That who is supposed to marry my own daughter?
Who is supposed to come out?
Single and mingling, you know, those days. So guys, please, don't go and fish in other pools.
The pool is fresh.
Yes.
We're raising daughters here. Women of God that love the Lord.
Yeah. It's fresh. Fresh fish. Fresh fish.
Hey, complications.
Fresh fish.
From outside too close.
Hey.
I'm not saying these people from outside too close first.
Those ones are very complicated.
That's no strategy.
We don't know where to start beginning because they have.
Inside, they are complicated in their own way.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
At
At least the ones that are inside, they are. You know that it's a complication, you know.
The new character develop, you know.
Shock.
Go ahead.
Soon as the guys have been reporting to me that CYSM sisters are vaccinating them.
Which
You're
one?
vaccinating.
Who?
What is vaccinating?
What are they doing?
That they are complicated, like Tabak is saying.
They are high maintenance.
Not high maintenance. They are just. How can I say it? Okay, guys, talk for yourself. You're not the ones reporting to me. Say something. Eh?
Too demanding, complicated, demanding.
They are not sterilized. They are not sterilized.
They're not what?
They are not sterilized.
Let me ask the question again, right? And speak if you have something to say. I'm asking the guys, how are CYSM sisters?
Oh, Jesus. How are?
CYSM sisters.
How do they look like? They are cool, eh?
Yeah.
But there's bad.
Yeah.
They are cool, okay? Yeah, they are spiritually aligning with what we want.
Yeah.
But there's that specific personal,
Say it, strong personality.
not even so complicated.
How
No,
complicated?
the problem is I don't want you to come and complicate my life. Already my life is complicated. Come to my life is complicated. I mean, I'm expecting.
Do you want to give us an example?
They are not
I'm
soft-spoken, they are
expecting
not
more from
gentle.
you that, okay, spiritual gonna help me to grow spiritual. So when you're coming with your nonsense,
Uncle Banda,
They are not warm.
how are CYSM sisters?
exactly.
They are not warm. They are not welcoming. From what I'm picking up.
No, the thing is too much pretending.
Yay! That one is worse.
Don't pretend to be who you are not. Just be who you are.
Fake.
Be who you
I
are.
take it to you, you are full.
Yeah.
I think
I know this is a sister in Christ. She's a fully Christian. She's gonna help me to grow spiritually. And then you're showing me the other side of me, like, what is this? Don't pretend just to fit in.
just be yourself.
Be yourself. So
Be
what-
real,
what you're
be
pretending
real.
to fit in,
Be
you already
real.
fit in.
Be
So what
real.
next? Then it's just- So it's better to be
I think it's true that.
Consider. Okay, Melissa, sorry, go ahead.
Me, I just want a fleece blankets. Me? Now I was just saying.
I think we threw it. I think let's share the cake. I think let's share it. Yeah, I'll share it.
Guys, please use
I think let's eat it.
the service. Use the service.
Let's use it.
There's no time to rush.
It's fine. I'll share the cake myself.
Okay. Melissa had a question.
My question was basically that it's about, like, what's your point, especially on the point that they are kind of fake. I think, like, when you're getting involved with someone, you should know that to that level of probably the things that we don't notice in here, when I should be the one knowing them. I understand. So it might be your mistake also that you just looked at someone from the set as we're sitting here. You didn't get to know them from a personal perspective.
You have a view? You have a view?
No, they don't want that.
Stay at the CYSM girls. But I'm going to almost the CYSM girls.
I smell rejection.
They are shunning them.
It's not like this, they are talking like as CYSM-Christ in the bedroom. But remember the time when I think somebody in the house, we're sleeping on front. I discovered something there. As CYSM-Christ, we don't care about God. We shall tell the truth. Just listen to my point. In the morning when we leave the house, the guys, they don't care whether the girls are ready to go to the church. They jump to inside and cover. They are full there. They go to church. They forget about girls. When we are eating, they forget about girls. They eat.
We used to do that.
They are not gentlemen.
Yes.
No, these two guys. I had conflict with other guys, and then Simpe came to us. What we say? It's a good thing. You can't leave girls in church at night, jumping into the car, go home. Who are they going to protect? These girls. It's not like I'm talking them in a bedroom. That is why, like, most of, just that I'm married, that was not like just that most of us get rejected from CYSM. It's because of, we are not, that's how we treat them. Because you cannot leave girls at church. They are sitting there. You don't know what will happen to them. You jump into the car, you want to go and sleep. And then you are calling them your sisters.
Okay. And that's like 2-0. Two on goals.
What are we saying? I remember that morning, ladies were not ready. Gents were ready. And then what did you say? People who are ready, please go. Gents jumped into the car because they were ready. They left. What are we supposed to do? Wait for the ladies to get ready. Wait, let them go to the car so that they can go. Let us be gentlemen. Like that, ladies. No ways. When you are ready, let's go. People are not ready, they will follow. Let them follow the leaders. Let's go. When you are eating, they will be sitting down. Guys can't eat. Should you dish for them and give them food? No, we stand up and dish and eat.
The lady should be dishing for the guys.
No, exactly. Sister Babs.
The lady should dish
Every man for himself, not for everyone.
Let the ladies demonstrate their availability or caring by actually serving men. You cannot be sitting and expecting men to serve them.
Okay, who wants to talk next?
Are you sure he's your turn?
Wait, first of all, I
Are
want
you
to
sure
say,
he's your turn?
I want to say,
Are you sure he's your turn?
It's 2-1.
it's too near.
There's 2-1. Taba made a point.
The point is real.
He made a point, but yeah.
Okay, first of all, or second of all, after taboo, the reason for rejection is exactly that.
Exactly.
It's the reason for it, because I think, for ladies, there's nothing as attractive as a person who's thoughtful. Right?
Okay.
First of all, we are not as a student, we are not in a position where maybe like luxury material and all those things, but you being thoughtful is one thing we look at. So if it comes to like being hospitable, right? Like Tabo was saying, we have to eat food, and we are thinking about your stomach first. Women don't eat a lot, and I think I've told you guys this thing. Women don't eat a lot, so it doesn't hurt a fly for you to sit back, let them eat. It speaks about patience as well. You are thoughtful, you are patient. So how are you going to sustain a relationship if you're a person who easily gets pissed? Easily get pissed. We are talking about you throw 10 times. You throw 10 times. You are selfish to say you only think about yourself. Then it's basically speaking about the fact that you are not really ready to think about another person. Because if you get in a relationship and you're planning to get married, it means that now from today moving forward, it's not only about your stomach, it's about the stomach of another person, right? It's not about your only your well-being, it's about the well-being of a sister. So we are attracted to how you treat us, the fact that you are thoughtful, the fact that you give up of your time, the fact that you are kind. You need to be kind as a man, right? Even a man needs to be. I believe that we can also be servants. Like yes, we need to serve you as women, but also you also have a duty as a brother to be able to serve your brethren, right? To serve your sisters. I don't see anything wrong. I mean, I always see brother only washing dishes.
Like,
It doesn't take away from him. It does not degrade him.
The score is through 1.
4.
And 0.
Okay, that's another point.
Okay.
To add on
Sister
what
Keletu
she's
has a point.
saying, this morning, this is what I realized. I'm sleeping with them there, and the breakfast was ready on the table this morning. And they are there, all of them, they are there, dishing up 2 or 3 Viennas on their plates, and I didn't have the Vienna. None of them didn't
Thought
even-
about you.
Yeah, I even had to go to the fridge, take 1 Vienna out, and make it with the microwave. And I said to Uncle Banda, why is everyone taking out so many Vienna
Viennas,
without
yeah.
thinking about it?
Yeah, thoughtful.
Yeah.
Thoughtful.
That's
Thoughtful.
what I realized.
Yeah, I think that's now 6-1. 6-1.
Yeah, finished.
And the other guys are just sitting and not talking.
Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Are you going to take the 6-0? Defend yourself now.
Oh,
No comment.
Sorry, a master class.
On etiquette.
Etiquette. How to carry yourself as
A gentleman.
a gentleman.
Mm.
How to carry yourself as a lady.
It has to be both ways. Yeah.
We need it. No.
Okay, that's good.
doctor wants to comment.
Huh?
Doctor wants to say something.
Yes, doctor, go ahead.
I'm going to fight.
Go ahead. It's 6-1 now, so you need to.
Like you.
Fight for the men,
being-
doctor. To it. Boy.
That's good. So give me a piece.
Okay.
Because now there's a problem.
When you shift, let me see doctor's face.
There's a difference between you ladies want us to treat you somehow, but you guys don't treat us somehow. What Keletu is saying that the Viennas about Viennas. There's a difference. Yeah? There's a difference. So when we are talking
It's not funny. Doctor is pouring his heart out.
she said people dished a lot of Viennas. They didn't think for her.
Not just of her, of others.
Yeah.
For others. Okay, for others. The others who didn't get.
Yes.
But most of the time what I notice is that also ladies, they do the same thing. But in a good way. They try to hide, as we don't hide. You understand? In a good way that they hide. If I take 2 Viennas, I'll show you that I took 2 Viennas. There's nothing to hide. I'm a guy. I eat too much.
The way you're on the phone.
I will hope for him.
I eat too much. So taking 2 Viennas, yeah, I know that is selfishness of taking 2 Viennas.
You don't want to talk about it.
You don't want to call in Ali.
Get straight to the point.
Straight. So what do the ladies do?
Yeah. Ladies do. They also eat. Take 2 Viennas. Some of them they just come here and take the Vienna inside the mouth.
Instant Viennas. Instant Viennas.
I think the conclusion is what Sweetness gave. We need a masterclass in etiquette on how gentlemen can be gentlemen and how ladies should be ladies.
Gentleman is a gentleman to a lady is a lady.
Right. A gentleman is a gentleman to a lady who is a lady.
Yes.
So who is supposed to be first? The lady or the gentleman?
Ladies first.
English takes ladies first.
Chicken.
It doesn't have to be ladies first.
English.
Treat me the way you want to be treated.
No.
English says ladies first.
But there is no.
It's English, not me.
No.
The way I always look at it, as a man, we need to look at it in a different way. We are made to protect. So if we are not protecting our ladies, who will protect them?
Play your duty. Play your role. Without looking at it, just play your role.
If you are not providing, who will provide? And then if someone is providing, I will say, come on.
No, we don't use one like this. No.
Is he?
He's not one of us.
Yes. Yes, it's not all of us.
Therefore, you have been disowned from your president. You're not one of them. You have been disowned. But then she he's had a wife, so it means a lot. They should learn. There's so much that you can learn.
That was an undercut, man. No, I will not repeat that point. That point is like five goals.
11.
Yeah. So I think sometimes, yeah, sometimes if not most of the times. Sometimes if not most of the times, is that, well, I've engaged with a lot of CYSM sisters. So you will talk with, not that I ask them that, but yeah. So you talk about everything and these topics, and then you will hear most say, no, I don't want to get married, what. So, if someone is saying they don't want to get married, and if someone says they don't want to get married, already they have like excluded themselves from the equation. But then you'll be surprised then that, okay, as a guy, then you'll be doing something and then you hear, hey, this sister, what, wants you, what. And then, just like Tabo is saying, I'm not saying guys should not be gentlemen. Most definitely they have to be. But then some people misinterpret things, basically. So you come and be a gentleman, and then a sister will have and then get a different frequency, and then what. So when now you see, okay, now when you see that this thing is like, it becomes like a pattern, basically, that every time you try to act like a gentleman, different ladies have the same interpretation, basically. So now you see, okay, probably the problem is me in acting, being a gentleman. So you decide, no, let me act Just how Tabang is saying, basically. So you see that way as a solution, not that you don't actually want them. Yeah. And plus, they say they don't want to get married, so they shouldn't be sad about what and things.
It's not that deep.
Yeah, it's not that deep.
Yeah, they become a fraud.
And I have another point.
Yeah.
So,
5-3.
5-3.
yes, I'm balancing the equation. Ladies don't like good guys, so that's why.
Good guys.
It's a thing. Ladies don't like good guys, so that's why
Even Christian ladies.
all of the ladies.
They like guys who break their hearts. That's what you mean.
Is that what you mean?
Yes.
They say they're boring.
Well, you're too nice, you're too good.
You are boring.
Yeah,
You don't have a personality.
You are boring.
You're nonchalant.
yes. So that's why you have to maintain your integrity as a man to be the guy, the bad guy sometimes.
Ladies.
It's
They say they want
We've been there,
guy, but
No, you can't say
We've
that.
been there, I know.
You can't generalize
They don't even say
They
it
ask
because they
otherwise.
know it is a
What do you mean you don't like good guys?
Let them answer.
You know what the problem is with these guys, or something I've seen, and I'm sorry to say this, is that sometimes the reason why the guys get hurt is because once upon a time, I've seen a sister, a brother, because I like to suggest. I suggested, and the brother blasted, right? But the brother is actually after a sister who is some way not really into them. So I think sometimes you also get things twisted because you want something that is not really interested in you, or somebody who's not interested in you, when you could rather invest your time in seeking somebody who's interested in you. Like why
It is like
Why you waste investment?
and then you are ahead and everyone else is a bad person. Whereas there's a sister
Dying for the love of
a sister who is like, good for you. You could invest your time there and everything goes well, but no, you want that you are. Pastor G said, do not aim high. You are aiming high, and then you fall down to the ground.
Must aim high so that when you fall, you fall
halfway.
so that you don't fall on the ground, fall on the ground.
It's like they're taking me, man. Taking me.
You mustn't love mom.
Come to your level.
What are you going to say?
I was saying that increase I pay. That's
There's
what
no
you
such
say in
thing.
Zoom. They had one
Self-control.
Whoever taught women this way to non-challenge?
Child?
Nonchalant.
Nonchalant.
Yes.
In every argument, oh, we must non-challenge.
Not that it's like you're phlegmatic, you just
Non-expressive.
not enthusiastic about things.
Yeah.
Just there.
I want to hear from school.
Share.
How much is it? Until your danger.
What do you want to hear this?
There's been a lot of conversation. I want your perspective.
I mean, me, I have my person.
Oroko, you want to talk?
I'm closing it and
It's now what, 5-4?
5-4.
no, I'm closing it. I'll just be neutral, Murut, yabo. I feel like we view this whole courtship thingy in a fleshly way. But the main reality or the truth of it is that the whole Umjoro thing is a spiritual warfare. It's a fight. It's not easy to deal with, in a sense that if you do it just because you want to satisfy your fleshly desires, it will obviously fade, you know, and that is why we tend to move from here to there, there to there, and then even the girls no longer take us serious, firstly. Secondly, we are not spiritually fit to venture into relationships with certain people. Thirdly, we enter into relationships with people that we know that they do not enhance us or do us any better, but we do that otherwise because value we have this, oh man, it's not good for a man to be alone type of mindset. So I feel like with this whole thing of doing courtship, we need to be spiritually fit to do it first, because now it's like the most, how do I put this? It's like if there's a weapon that the devil wants to use in the movement, it's this one of courtship. If he wants to jinx things between the people in the movement, he brings about wrong relationships with the wrong people at the wrong time. So if we were to do it, my advice would be that we would be spiritually fit to understand the consequences of it. We would be shaped and carved into, I don't know how, but I think you guys get the gist of it. It's more of a spiritual thing than physical. That's my opinion. That's my perspective around it.
Right, and I sort of agree with that perspective that says we tend to undermine the spirituality of the whole relationship dilemma, and we tend to only kickstart it based on the physical attributes alone. Okay, let me run through the next 4 points so that it's quickly. The point number 4 in terms of the 7 pointers is that you should identify your non-negotiables. Kala, you can come and sit down. Kala, you can come and sit down. You should identify your non-negotiables. There are things that are major qualities that are uncompromising. There are minor qualities that you can do without, and make sure that the person you're searching for is your best of choice. Uncompromising major qualities: origin, physiology, spirituality, education, character. Those are deal breakers. Deal breakers, as in if the origin, if for some reason Zulus don't get married to Xhosas in your tradition, or Bendas don't get married to Pedis, or whatever it is that is the predominant situation, don't just ignore it. It may be actually a deal breaker, or may open you up for challenges. There's some other minor, some tribes don't get married to each other, even among believers. Yeah, even if it's not biblical, don't ignore it. There are spiritual people who choose not to be biblical, and you don't want your marriage to be the test ground of Bible doctrine. So yes, for example, where we come from, there are some people that don't like getting married to people of other tribes. It becomes a huge, significant source of problem. So if you can avoid it, avoid it. There are some minor qualities that are passive. You can go around it and it may not be a challenge. There are 5 key questions that you need to ask in terms of circumstantial questions that determine the extent of your readiness to be with this person. The degree of your love. Will I love this face and be proud of her for the rest of my life? Am I dying of genuine love for her or for him? You must have attained your final bus stop. Do I have an understanding of the manifestation of my love for this person? Will it grow with time? Do I have an understanding of the person's background and to know where they are coming from, what they have been through? And this is a very important aspect in relationships. Understanding a person's upbringing gives you an information of their predisposition. So a person who has grown up in the absence of a father, for example, A woman who has grown up in the absence of a present father figure does not know how to relate to authority. You need to understand that they have, in the absence of a father figure, have learned how to cope and have developed their personality to be able to survive in life in the absence of a person that says, stand, sit, go to bed, switch off your phone. You cannot have your phone. That they have not had that voice in their ear growing up has said that their subconscious is not used to instructions. So here you come along, this guy that she falls in love with, and then you've grown up under tight authority and you know authority. She would struggle to adapt initially because she has grown up in life okay, not having lived that. A man that grows up in the absence of a fatherly figure also has his weaknesses and his challenges. A woman that grows up in the absence of a mother in her life has a particular weakness and challenge. A woman that grows up in the absence of a father has a particular. Each of them have specific characteristics. A woman that grows up in the absence of a father figure does not know how to relate to the male in terms of her appreciation of a man that loves her without interest. It denatures her appreciation of male attention because she did not have a father that she could just relate to and learn how to receive love for a man. And I'm just giving you random examples. The point I'm making is you need to understand the background of the person you are dealing with. Because when you understand their background, you will understand their predispositions. If you understand the background, the nature of their relationship with their parents or lack thereof, the nature of their upbringing, the nature of their family circumstances, the nature of their relationship with their surviving parents, there are a lot of factors that when you get into a relationship, you must look at very closely and know what it is that you're dealing with. For example, let me use Sister Babs as an example. Sister Babs lost her dad very young, in her teens. It changed the trajectory of her development at that stage of her life and forced her into adulthood and maturity quicker than she was ready for. She missed a certain aspect of her childhood. In the first couple of years of our marriage, I was relating to her for a very long time as a father. She did not realize that that is what she was drawing from me. A very long time. It took time for our relationship to transition to we are now operating like friends. And how was I relating like a father? She would go and do shopping and come back and give me an account of what she did. Everything. I don't ask for it. It's not like I gave you 500, how did you spend it? Just second nature. You see, the money I got this time I spent it. And there were other manifestations. And so after a while, it then dawned on me that, okay, this is what this is, you know. I am now this man that has come into her life, and I have to now live out the years that she missed up with her father. She relates to me like that. Primarily. For a while. And then the relationship starts transitioning. So there are different ways, you know, that you need to then understand. I was talking with one of you recently. We were driving in the car and I was speaking to both of them, and I was speaking to the lady and I was telling her that, you know, one of your problems is that you have not grown up with a father figure. And it has caused you to be a person that has learned how to do life by yourself. So you don't know how to relate with a man. Because a man comes into your space and you have been taught to instead fight because you have had to fight your way through life. So this guy comes and he's trying to be a compass. He's trying to constrain your behavior and tell you a specific direction, and then you are instead pushing him away because you cannot relate. Because he's showing you something that you have never known. And it's so second nature inside of you, you don't even realize it. So, dwelling with the person with background is very key. Once you interact with somebody, understand where they are coming from, what they have been through, what was present in their life, what was absent in their life, what sort of challenges they face. Were they living in abundance? Background is not only for the negative, it's also for the positive. If somebody has grown up in a house where They had cornflakes for breakfast, sausages for breakfast. They had like an English breakfast every morning. And then you come out of the house where you guys barely had a meal of the previous day for breakfast, and you run out. Your philosophy of the management of the kitchen is night and day. So you stand and look at your wife making breakfast, you're thinking to yourself, my God, this woman will use the grocery of the whole month in one day.
And ask for more money. Money will finish.
And then you start fighting.
Groceries will finish.
But in the meantime, that is her second nature. That's how breakfast was for her when she was growing up. You know, that's how breakfast was for her when she was growing up. So she's expressing love. She's expressing love based on her background. That's what she knows. But you're looking at it and thinking to yourself, what have I got myself into?
All this breakfast. Where is it?
All this breakfast that is for.
Heavy breakfast.
So it facilitates it facilitates just dwelling with the other with understanding. It's going to help you to understand. It will ease the pressure in your mind in so many ways from the frustrations that you feel. If you just know more or less where is this person coming from. You know, it's going to help you. And then of course, physiognomy is something that people often focus on.
No, the stories, the readings.
Yeah. Nature and character, be comfortable with the person. If you don't like a talkative person, don't get married to a talkative person. There's some people who get exhausted just listening to other people talk. It drains the energy out of them. There's some other people like Uncle Banda, they don't mind. You can talk. They will listen to you, they'll hear your whole story. Because they're good listeners. There's some other people who are not listening because they're impatient to talk. So they want conversation. You say A, but they need to say B. There's some other people who want to say A to Q before you say Jack. Understand the background. Okay. I'm going to skip that. Point number 6 of 7. When it comes to the finalization of the relationship, there are 3 witnesses that you need to take into account. The 2 individuals must agree and must be on the same page. Comes back to what Sweetness was saying. Don't be ambitious in, don't project your convictions on others. I love you and I believe that you are the one. And expect the other person to say, I also love you and believe that you are the one. Let it be mutual, genuinely so. Be interested in each other. You know, it can get very frustrating for you when you are more committed in the relationship or to the relationship than the other person is.
No, I'm just saying if the other person is just coming to say, okay, sure.
Let's see.
Like, no, without really conviction, maybe out of desperation or just
out of pity.
Maybe
Being to
I
each
feel
other.
bad because you've maybe done nice things to me in the past.
Yeah.
That's sure I'll marry you, of course. But then you're really not into it. You're not really you don't really like the person that much, but you think, let's see, I think it will just manage.
Yeah.
It will not last because
So the point number 1 is that the conviction has to be mutual, and both people need to be persuaded that they are in for the relationship. And then both people need to be persuaded they have arrived at their final bus stops. It must not be one among multiple options. You know, I don't understand how, and maybe I don't know. I don't understand how, when it comes to issues of love and relationships, people can actually have options. I don't know how that works. Maybe for a lady, at a certain stage of your life, you may have many suitors. That is a possibility. You could have many suitors, many people who are interested in you. But once you have made your choice for one person, you come out of that club. So you must cast your net into one fish pond and fish in that pond. You know, you cannot do like what some of our sisters are doing.
Taking gifts from
A, you know, while keeping B on hold and waiting for an answer from C. That's criminal.
KCC does not matter. KCC says no.
And
then
don't hedge your bets. Don't spread your investments and hope that if A doesn't work, B works, and if B doesn't work, C works.
must work.
Don't work as Consider was saying. Let's be spiritual about it. Be driven by interest and love, and then have an idea. And then you must love what you're getting married to. Don't pity them. Don't do it out of don't do it out of empathy or sympathy or well, this one, who else is going to get married to them apart from me? It must be something that there has to be a witness. So the witness of the people involved says, to the best of my knowledge and to the best of my ability, this is the person that I would like to spend the rest of my life with, and I do not see any reason why we should not be together. That's witness number one. The two must be in agreement. Witness number two, your spiritual parents should be in agreement. I put a caveat on that one to say it's ideal. If you're under authority and you're functioning under authority, it will always be good to go and get the view and opinion of the spiritual. Hopefully it's as spiritual parents, spiritual people. Understand? Yes. So people who have your best interest at heart, whom God can speak to, who may be seeing something that you are not seeing. They don't make the decision for you. They are just there to provide you one additional level of verification to make sure that you are saying right, to make sure that you're not under the influence of me and Kuku Sheshe. Somebody has not laid hands on your head and confused your perspective. So that additional backup protection mechanism is additional. And of course, if they have the Spirit of God, as you have the Spirit of God, there will be agreement. So whenever you bring something like that to attention to the spiritual parents and they genuinely go and pray about it, if there is a problem, the Spirit of God will lay it on their hearts. Sometimes they can explain something they cannot explain. So pay attention to that. The third level of agreement that I think is very important is parental agreement. Personally, I have come to the point in my life where I think point number 3 is more important than point number 2, or point number 1. I've come to a place in my life where, from experience, if parents say no, go back and pray about it. If the parents still say no, go back and pray about it. If they still say no, break the relationship and move on. Don't jump over your parents to get married to a person. It's just not going to work. Your life will be a long and difficult experience for you in so many ways. Of course, there are people who have done that and gone ahead to go and get married and have marriages. But in some instances, they become very difficult marriages. Somehow, it always catches up with you. And it somehow affects the relationship between the two people. Okay, so that then brings us to the 7 points is to get confirmation from God's word. So, confirmation from God's word is a 7-pointer. You need to have ability to discern the will of God. Take a retreat in fasting and prayer and seek the voice of God. Learn how to discern the voice of God in prayer on the issue. Do not depend on exclusively visual conceptions for marriage. People that dream about their partners or have visions about their pastors or get prophecies and revelations about their partners. This particular second one is creating havoc in the church. When people get prophecies about brother, consider, I've seen you with sister AAA. And the Lord has told me that that's your wife.
At least he's not with themselves.
So it's or people putting a fleece, peace of mind, love. The person who comes and gives me a glass of water when I get into church is the right one. I had a dream and I saw myself, and it was raining and you brought an umbrella and covered me. And so on and so forth. So it's a wrong ways of discerning the will of God. They're not this is not hard and fast, it's not prescriptive, but it's not advisable to make the decision exclusively on the fact that you had a dream or a vision. And there are some people that will be directed in dreams and directed in visions, But it should take much more than that. It should also not be a question of prophecy. And it should not also be something that is a man of God that tells you that go ahead and get married to it. Before Sister Babs and I got married, it's one of the very respected friends of ours that, and he has accurate prophecies. He sat me down and told me that someone else was my wife. And they were very persuaded, and we were already in a relationship with Sister Babs. I sat down and told him that, no, I'm very persuaded that you guys are meant for each other. Not talking about Sister Babs. No, that is this person. It's a respected voice. The only thing that saved me and saved my gone off on the tangent of prophecy and then calls Sister Babs and says that, you know what, a man of God has said that Sister so and so is my wife and not you. You know. So those are not, there will obviously be instances in which you know, spiritual guidance is going to be the voice of God. But don't be driven by prophecy. Because sometimes the prophetic man will get it wrong. It's not in our day and age sufficient measure for you to take that. So lengthy from the word, confirmation through other ways. Tripartite confirmation in this instance is your family, your spiritual parents, and your actual biological parents. Okay, so different ways in which the things that are important in the choice of a life partner. It's the voice of God. It's the presence of witnesses, it's maturity, it's compatibilities, and it's others. And Dr. Shuden makes it up in such a way that he places that which is most important at the center. Hear God about it. That's what's the most important thing. Hear God. I need to add, that you hear God and you discern and you choose right does not mean that there will not be difficulties in the relationship. The fact that you face difficulties does not mean that you married the wrong person, or that you did not hear God, or that you were not meant to be with each other. But hear God. And whenever you embark upon a journey that gets to a place where it hits a difficulty and it's telling and it's proving like, before you get married, of course, like this is not the right person, don't regret, move on. Time gives perspective. There are some people whom you may look at now and you think that this is the one that I cannot do without. I will die if I don't get married to this person. When you see that same person 10 years down the line, you would ask yourself the question, what was I thinking? So if you are in a relationship that you're trying to forge as a young person who is about to get married and it doesn't work, thank God, move on. God has better for you. Don't tabernacle there and build a monument. You know, and then try to make it work by fire and by thunder, by brimstone. Move on. Because when you find the right person, and I will end with that, they often say you know. God gives you grace for it to go smoothly. Okay, that's the end of my story. I felt that we needed to have this conversation just as a means of you guys getting ready to forge and lay the foundations to build godly homes, because it's an intentional KPI for CYSM. We want successful relationships, relational excellence, successful marriages. And there are lots of other things that we could have talked and we could touch on that were not talked on tonight, but I felt that we should go back to this basic 7 key facts of elements to take into consideration in establishing a godly relationship. Are there any pressing, burning questions before we stop? 1 or 2 questions. It's either all understood or you're all tired. Let's set up our prayer.